Hi friends, Michael here from Business for Unicorns, and today I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite topics, which is feedback. If you've been following Business for Unicorns at all, you know that Mark and I talk about feedback a lot. And I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about how to give feedback well. How as a manager or a leader in your organization or just in your life, how to be someone who thoughtfully gives feedback to other people. But I don't know that we've spent enough time talking about how we can all be better at personally receiving feedback ourselves. So I'm going to give you 3 tips for getting better at receiving feedback yourself. And I think just these 3 tips, if you were to apply them today, will make a huge difference in your relationship to feedback. But first, I want to talk about what makes it hard to receive feedback in the first place. I think there's kind of 2 categories of things that makes it hard to receive feedback. One is that the feedback is a little unexpected. It takes us by surprise, and we're not ready to have a conversation about whatever the topic is. That's one thing that I think makes it hard. The other thing that makes receiving feedback hard is that it can be just emotionally triggering. That if someone's giving us feedback, we kind of immediately assume this person doesn't like me, this person thinks I stink at my job, this person just has it out for me, right? This person doesn't think that I have much integrity. Like, we can come up with a ton of assumptions for what we think it means when someone's bringing feedback to us, and that itself can just kind of be emotionally triggering. So knowing that it's hard, and I don't think anyone is inherently good at taking critical feedback, I want to give you 3 quick tips that you can apply right away to make receiving feedback much easier for you. And you'll be even maybe excited to receive feedback. Maybe you'll even look forward to receiving feedback in the future. Let's just get started. Tip number 1 is the best way to get good at receiving feedback is to start asking for it. When you can proactively ask someone for specific feedback about a specific performance that you want to get better at, then you'll immediately get rid of the surprise. You'll immediately get rid of that emotional triggering when someone comes and kind of throws feedback at you in an unexpected way. So start asking for feedback, and immediately it will change your relationship for it. And one thing you can do in a work setting is set a goal for yourself to ask for one piece of feedback from one person every week. It can be ideally a different person every week, or the same person, just asking about different aspects of your work relationship or your performance. So tip number 1, you want to get better at receiving feedback, start asking for it. And I would say here, one more pro tip is ideally in organizations, managers lead this effort. So if you can get more leaders and managers to start asking for feedback, it'll help create a culture of people who are hungry for feedback and are proactively asking for it. Tip number 2, this one's hard, but you want to assume good intent. What I mean by that is you want to assume that when someone's bringing you feedback, they intend it as a gift, right? If you can start seeing feedback a little bit like a gift, and the gift is they're giving you feedback because on some level they give a crap about you. They want to see you improve. They want to see your performance improve in a certain way. They want to see your relationship improve in a certain way. When people don't care about you or don't care about your relationship, they won't bother going through the discomfort of giving you feedback. They'll just walk away or close that chapter of your relationship. So when someone's giving you feedback, they're making a bid for connection. And if you can see that feedback as a gift and assume that they have good intent in sharing that feedback with you, that might limit the amount of emotional reactivity you'll have in the conversation and make it appear that you're more open to receiving that feedback. So assume good intent is tip number 2. All right, tip number 3. This one is own what you can and archive the rest. So what I mean by that is when someone gives you feedback, ideally there's a part of it that you can own right up front. So for example, if someone says, hey Michael, I think you had a bad attitude in today's meeting, and I feel like that's a regular pattern for you. Like, I feel like you always come into meetings with a little bit of an attitude. Something I might say would be something like, okay, I can totally own that 100% today I had a bad attitude. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take your feedback and I'm gonna keep thinking about it. I'm not sure that I agree that it's all the time, but I really appreciate you saying something. So, and I totally can own that today was a bad day. And so let me take this and go think about it. And thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, so what I'm doing there is I'm owning the parts of it that I agree with right now, that I can agree that I contributed to a part of it to make a problem, but there's parts of it that maybe I don't agree with or I want to think about more, so I can kind of archive that and agree to go revisit it when I'm ready. Maybe I just need to be in a better emotional space to consider how I've contributed to the problem, and maybe I need to go back to them and continue the conversation when I've gathered some additional facts. But either way, I think the tip here of own what you can and archive the rest is useful because it immediately allows you to let the person know, I'm willing to own up to where I've contributed to making issues, and I'm willing to keep thinking about it if I'm not immediately ready to own all of it. And so those are the 3 tips. Tip number 1, ask for feedback more often. Tip number 2, assume good intent about the people who are giving you feedback. And tip number 3 is to own what you can and archive the rest. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm here to help any way I can, but I hope you're all on your way to becoming a better receiver of feedback. Have a great day.